YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, especially Zoom. Welcome to another Bible study. So much to cover, and we are excited to keep covering how God operates, his intent, his motives, and everything that he do. Man, it's loving. We learned last night that even in his wrath, it's a reason behind it, and it's filled with love. And I want us to always be able to view God from that perspective. So as we go through tonight, we're not going to make it through all of them for a fact. I already know that. But where we're going to do, we're going to set a real solid foundation tonight of the 7 trumpets, because we talk a lot about the golden censer, and we're going to just hit that for just a moment. We're going to hit the golden censer, but we're going to really focus in on the 7 trumpets and things of that nature. So with that being said, Zoom, can you say hello to the world? Because you will be helping us out tonight, as always, because they can hear you.
Hello.
There she is.
Yo.
All right.
Hello.
All right. So Zoom will be helping us out tonight, as always, but we will be getting into this 7 trumpets tonight. And I want to start by just saying this statement. And I think it's a statement that we really need to think about. And that is, and we understand the first part of what I'm saying. The second part going to sound a little weird, but no one on this planet is beyond redemption. No one. So no one is beyond redemption. But listen to the second part of this I'm about to say. So no one is beyond redemption. But the majority of the world is beyond redemption. Did y'all just understand that statement that I just said? Who understood what I just said? I'm going to say it again. No one is beyond redemption, but the majority of the world is beyond redemption. So hearing a second time, do y'all understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Is that saying basically like just from God's standard, like nobody is beyond redemption, but saying that the majority of the world, the way that it's going, that the state of it is beyond redemption. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. And the people. So think about what I'm saying. The majority of the world, by the time the Great Tribulation ends, will have the mark of the beast. Did y'all just hear me? The majority of the world will take the mark of the beast. The majority of the world will take the mark of the beast. The majority of the world will take the mark of the beast. This is highly important for us to understand, because if God gives you an assignment to do, right? And that assignment requires you to stay locked in and focused and not get off track. You stay locked in and focus on the assignment. But if you start to, what I call, get in your feelings and say, let's do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go over here and do all these things, you can definitely be off course of your assignment. I'm gonna go back a little bit, and I want to ask this question real quick. How long, not how long, does anybody know how long God has given them to complete the assignment for their life on this planet? Do you know how long God has given you?
No.
All right. Do anybody know? Go
Till
ahead.
we die.
No.
All right, till we die, right? So whatever the assignment is till you die, right? So watch this, what I'm about to say. How long did God tell they would tell Daniel that they'll be in captivity? How long did God reveal it to him? Y'all don't remember?
Was it 70?
That's right. So 70 years. How long did Messiah know he had to minister?
You asked, how did he know?
How long did he know? How long? What was the time period that he knew he was going to have to minister and preach?
The time, I know the time period was 3.5 years.
That's right. So for 3.5 years, he knew he was going to have time. This was the time. So he knew no time before that nothing was going to happen to him, right? Until it was what?
Fine.
That's right. I'm going somewhere with this. So when we talk about the 7 trumpets, I want us to understand a time frame and a time slot. So if we knew how long God has given us to minister to the assignment, how will we live? That's a question you have to ask for yourself. How would you live? What would you do if you knew it was next year, right? But I'm going to go back to the statement I said. No one is beyond redemption, but the majority of the world is beyond redemption. So we're going to get into the 7 trumpets today. And for us to understand that, we need to understand God's wrath we've been talking about. So God has 4 dreadful judgments. 4 dreadful judgments. God has 4 dreadful judgments. We're going to read them in a moment. Anybody know what they are off the top of their head?
Wrath being one,
Okay.
right?
4 dreadful judgments is like basically his wrath.
Okay, got it.
All right, so let's go over to Revelation 6 real quick, and then we're going to go to Ezekiel 14. So somebody grab Ezekiel 14 first, and then we're going to go to Revelation 6. Somebody read 7 and 8. Revelation 6, 7 and 8.
I got it. Revelation 6, 7, and 8 says, when the Lamb broke the 4th seal, I heard the 4th living being say, come. I looked up and saw a horse whose color was pale green. Did I read the right verses?
Yeah.
Okay. Its rider's name was Death, and his companion was the grave. These 2 were given authority over 1/4 of the earth to kill with the sword and famine and disease and wild animals.
So, in the 4th seal, when God's wrath break out, what is going to take out 1/4 of the earth?
Sword, famine, plague, and wild beasts.
Did y'all catch that?
Yes, sir.
Sword, famine, plague, and wild beasts. Did y'all? And we know this is before the 7 trumpets are being blown. Is that right?
Yep.
Y'all got it? Everybody paying attention to that?
Yes.
I just want to. So remember last night we talked a lot about why God wrath is coming. Why is his wrath coming? So when it comes, he wants us to understand how he do things. So sword, famine, plague, and wild beasts. Now we're in Ezekiel 14, right? Somebody's over there right now, right? Who's over there? We're going to read verses. Who's there? So I can know.
I'm here.
I'm in Ezekiel.
All right, Ezekiel 14. We're gonna do a start in verse 12. 12. We're gonna read 12, and we're not reading all of it, but I want us to see God's judgments. Just read 21 real quick. Actually, read 14:21. Who got it? 14:21.
I got you.
All right, go ahead.
For this is what the sovereign Lord says. How much worse will it be when I send against Jerusalem my 4 dreadful judgments, sword and famine and wild beast and plague, to kill its men and their animals.
All right. So this is the setup right here. God is saying, how much worse will it be when I, so who sent a sword, famine, plague, and wild beasts? God. Send against Jerusalem my 4 dreadful judgments. We're going to get into something with the 7 trumpets because this is important. So God is going to give us a wake-up call through sword, famine, plague, and wild beasts. Watch this. How do we know he's going to do it in a gracious way? What was the hint we got a few minutes ago that it's going to be through grace?
Because it wasn't going to hit everybody, it was only going to be, what was it, a third or a fourth?
So it's not going to impact, well, it will impact the whole world, but it's not going to directly take out all of the world. It's going to only take out how much of the world?
1/3. 1/4.
1/4. So 1 out of 4 people will be destroyed immediately. So God can give everybody else a wake-up call. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So 1 out of 4 is just going to be taken out. Sword, famine, plague, wild beasts. And we talked about last night why God's wrath is coming and what he uses it for, and the mindset of certain people, especially in the inner cities. We talked about all this last night. So we about to really dive into it now. So let's talk about the trumpets. Why 7 trumpets? So first, before we do anything, we need to talk about this concept, because the majority of the world is beyond redemption. That means the majority of the world is in the same position as who?
The enemy.
Say it again.
The enemy.
Let's talk about that for a second, Teach. The majority of the world is in the position, the same position that the enemy and the fallen angels were in heaven, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we know that there's one thing to struggle with something in life, right? Struggle, you have a struggle here, you face a giant, you overcome things, you struggle with this, you struggle with that, and you keep overcoming. But there's a different mindset of a person that is beyond redemption. Anybody know what the mark of someone who is beyond redemption? Anybody know what the mark of that type of person is? So we're gonna read it.
I mean, I would say no fear of God, but
That's good. That's no fear of God. Let's go to Numbers 15 real quick in verse 30. Somebody read verse 30 and 31. Numbers 15, 30 and 31. Check this out.
I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 30.
Yeah, and 31.
Okay. It says, but anyone who sins defiantly, whether native born or foreigner, blasphemes the Lord and must be cut off from the people of Israel, because they have despised the Lord's word and broken his commands. They must surely be cut off. Their guilt remains on them.
What did y'all peep in that verse this type of person was?
Blasphemous.
Yeah, but go back a little further.
They were defiant.
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 All right, let's talk about defiant, because to defy the Holy Spirit means you are either pushing them or rejecting them or becoming your God. So think about defiance for a moment. Defiance isn't the same as you struggling with a sin over here or something, right? Defiance mean, what does it mean real quick? What type of person is defiant? What kind of heart do they have?
I'm gonna do what I want.
Do what I want.
I don't care about what you say.
Intentional.
A defiant group of people, right, or a defiant person, they want to overthrow the rulers that are in authority. So defiance means I want to overthrow you and I want to implement my way. Are y'all getting it? Y'all picking it up? So the majority of the world is in a position of defiance, not just struggling with sin. Everybody caught that?
Yeah.
I want to, I don't want to do anything God's way. I want to do it my way. So how else can God get the attention of a defiant world?
By bringing all those plagues.
Right.
Gotta shake it up.
You got to shake the world up, right? He must shake it up so he can get the attention, because what is the end goal?
To save them.
To save people, to save the whoever is willing. That's his goal. So if I got to shake up the world and take out 1 out of 4 here and all over the planet just so I can get the attention long enough for people to make a decision for or against me. Is that love?
Written all over it.
How often do you hear that kind of a story being told by his people?
Not often. Actually, not at all.
Most people just want God to just show up and take me to heaven and destroy all the wicked. Is that right? The majority of believers, I'm saved right now, so I'm ready for the rapture. You're right. But we're going to read some more verses before we get deep into the 7 trumpets, because I think getting it all together brings that layer that we need. So let's go to Amos 5 real quick. Amos 5. And we're going to start in verse 18. Amos 5, start in verse 18.
To what?
Let's just start reading. Just read 18 first. Just read that one first. Just read 18.
Woe to you who long for the day of the Lord.
Read it slow.
Woe to you who long for the day of the Lord. Why do you long for the day of the Lord? That day will be darkness, not light.
Woe to you who long. Lord, come back. I can't wait for Jesus to come back and take us and destroy the wicked. Is that the mindset of his people right now? But watch what he's saying, y'all. This is going to get real deep in a minute. He said, woe. What does the word woe mean? We done went through this plenty of times. Woe to that person.
Hold up. Stop. Wait. Chill. Easy.
Woe is an inflammatory. It's an inflammatory word. It's almost like a curse. You're cursed by thinking this. That your mindset is off for thinking that. Woe. He's saying, woe to you who long for the day of the Lord. Why do you long for the day of the Lord? That day will be darkness, not light. Watch what he say next. It will be as though a man fled from a lion only to meet a what?
A bear.
Yo, how deadly is a bear? A grizzly.
Very deadly.
A grizzly. You see?
No, thank you.
Yo, you could probably get away with a lion, pop him a few times with it, right? You know what I'm saying? Shoot it. But a bear? Who understand what a grizzly bear?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're not a handgun.
One shot ain't going, yeah.
It's a wrap.
Right? And they're fast and powerful. You can't run from them. You can't climb a tree. You can't jump on a car. Right?
You can't swim because they swim too.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So look at what God used. It's like you're going to be running from a lion only to meet a bear. That's how it will be. He said, as though he entered his house and rested his hand on a wall only to have a snake bite him. Are y'all picking up the wild beast now?
Yeah.
You got it now?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure we all hear. Will not the day of the Lord be darkness, not light, pitch dark, without a ray of brightness? Now watch this. Who is God talking to in the next verse? Somebody read the next verse.
I despise your religious festivals. Your assemblies are a stench to me.
Who is God talking about? The people longing for the day of the Lord to come and all this kind of stuff, and you don't even know that you ain't ready. What type of people?
The religious people.
Traditional people.
Oh. He's talking about the religious people who are trying to speed on the day of the Lord. Let me ask y'all a question. The more you learn about the end times, you want God to wait, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Think about it. Because it's so, watch this, it's so much work to do. It's so many places to go. It's so many people to talk to about what he's actually doing. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that, huh? Is that the mindset Jesus had? I only got a short amount of time to do all this work. Is that the mindset?
Yes, sir.
Ah, but he's saying the people, y'all watch this. This is what he says. I'm gonna show y'all why this building Christianity, the being in the building, and that's all we got to be doing and praising, worshiping and stuff. That don't move God. Look what he says. I hate. These are the people that's longing for the day of the Lord. I despise your religious festivals. Your assemblies are a stench to me. Even though you bring me burnt offerings and grain offerings, tithes and offerings, whatever free will offerings, I will not accept them. Though you bring choice fellowship offerings, I will have no regard for them. Watch what he says. Away with the noise of your what?
Um,
Is noise to him. I would
Mm.
not listen to the music of your harps, but let justice. What is God looking for? What is he looking for us to be?
Just.
Just. Defend. Let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never failing stream. I'm gonna stop right there. So we just got a lot of context. The majority of the world is beyond what?
Redemption.
Why? We read in Numbers.
Because they're defiant.
Because they are defiant. And defiant, they means they want to do what?
What they want to do.
Do whatever I want to do. Defiance is me wanting to overthrow the actual powers that be, because that's what the enemy want to do. He want to overthrow God and set up his own throne. Is that right?
Yep, he wants to be his own boss.
That's right. Do you know a lot of people like that?
Yep.
The majority of people that you encounter in life, do they have that mindset?
Yep.
Huh. So no one's beyond redemption, but the majority is beyond it. So God is going to get our attention because he want to save. So now let's talk about the trumpets now. Now we're going to really get into it. The trumpets is what we're going to hit on next.
So can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I think the thing that blows me about it is when we talk about people, wanting to follow Satan and all that, is because he knows his end. Like I was talking to Lace about it. He totally knows what's going to happen to him. So, I mean, we know what's going to happen to him too. So I'll just be confused about that part.
But we know what's going to happen to us also in the same way the enemy knows.
Right.
You see that? But we still decide to do our own thing a lot of times in our life. That's just how we operate as people. See, that's why God say surrender, submit, obey, respect, all these things, die to self. That's why he wants us to do that, because he wants us to see if we do those things, if his ways are right. Like, is this the way you will want to live? So we're going to go and start to look at these trumpets real quick. What was trumpets used for? Let's go to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23.
I've got it.
All right, Leviticus 23, just read verse 23 right now.
Okay. It says, Festival of Trumpet. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, on the first day of the 7th month, you are to have the day of Sabbath rest, a sacred assembly commemorated with trumpet blast. Do no regular work. but present a food offering to the Lord.
All right. So pay attention. On the first day of what month, y'all?
The 7th month,
The 7th month, you already have a Sabbath rest, no work and stuff. Watch this. What it says next.
the Day of Atonement. The Lord
No.
said,
I'm talking about
Oh,
in 24.
oh,
What he say in that part? A Sabbath rest, and what's right after that?
a sacred assembly commemorated with trumpet blast.
It's a sacred assembly, and what's going to be blasting off?
Trumpets.
Trumpets. So this is to get the Israelites' attention for something that's coming in a few days. So the Feast of Trumpets was preparation. You probably already know this, for what?
For the I was about to say the Day of Atonement.
Right. You're right. We about to read it. So these trumpet blasts is to get your attention, but it's to get your attention for what, though? We're about to find out. The Day of Atonement. So the trumpet blast is to get your attention for the Day of Atonement. I'm gonna explain that in 1 second about the Day of Atonement, but I need us to pay attention to something. Well, actually, read 26 and 27, and then we'll stop right there real quick.
Okay. The Lord said to Moses, the 10th day of the 7th month is the Day of Atonement.
All right, stop right there. Right there. So on the first day, they're blowing trumpets, right? 9 days later, he said the 10th day of this month is the what?
Day of Atonement.
So from the Feast of the Trumpets, when they're blowing horns, is for everybody to come together, right? A sacred, y'all know what sacred means. It means solemn. It's almost like it's best to fast at this moment to get right, because the Day of Atonement is coming up, and we need to talk about that part of it. The Day of Atonement is coming up, and so now I need to get everybody's attention to do what? What are you supposed to be doing before the Day of Atonement, El?
Resting.
Yeah. But
you're supposed to be preparing.
Yes. All right. So I'm gonna go deeper. So during this time when the trumpets are blown, it's a wake-up call that if you have any unconfessed sins, any restitution you need to make to your brothers, to God, to your sisters, whatever, this was the time to do it, because the Day of Atonement is a once a year thing, and we'll talk about that in a second. So now the trumpets are used to get your attention that the Day of Atonement is coming. And so I need to make things right with my fellow brothers and sisters. Y'all got it? So making things right, what does that look like? Have y'all ever heard, I know y'all have because we done talked about it before, of restitution? Huh? You ever heard of restitution?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the time to clear your conscience. Are y'all right? Y'all hearing this? This is the time to get right with man and God, so you could be at total peace for what event?
The Day of Atonement.
That's right, 100%. So now you bring all your junk to the altar of bronze offering. What was that altar for, y'all?
For the personal.
The personal, that's right. So you bring all your junk to the altar of bronze offering. This is the time to do it. You bring that perfect lamb. This is the time to do it. Bring it all there. Right? And then the high priest is going to handle that on the Day of Atonement. But so what were the trumpets used for, y'all, again?
To get everybody's attention.
For what?
To assemble.
Yes, but
together.
Also to get things right. So I want y'all to start to parallel this now from the Old Testament to the New Testament. When God blows the trumpets in the Revelation now, what is the understanding of why he's doing it?
To wake up the people to get things right.
To wake up the world to start to get things right, because the day of the Lord has come. Everybody got it? Y'all see the parallel now?
Yep.
Because the Day of Atonement is coming. Where the cleansing. So I'm gonna break down the Day of Atonement real quick. The Day of Atonement is when it's once a year. So we already talked about this. Sin is never what?
Forgotten.
Forgotten or
Forgive.
that's right. But
Uh-huh.
sinners are what?
Forgiven.
That's right.
Forgiven.
The sinners. So once you bring it to the altar, the high priest, look, watch this. Everybody who's came and brought their sins to him, the high priest now seals you. Y'all getting it? Y'all starting to understand it now? So the high priest is going to take care of all this stuff, that all the baggage that you got up off of you, the high priest is now going to take care of it. This is the grace and mercy of God. So what they did was, you know, they take the all the sins in. They had bowls of blood and things like that from the lamb and things of that nature. And they brought it all in there to the altar. Then what they did was they transferred the sin from the altar to a what?
A cattle.
Scapegoat.
A scapegoat. That's
yeah.
right. They transferred the sin from inside the temple. This is the cleansing of it, to the scapegoat that is responsible for the sin, and then they send it off to the desert to die from starvation. So if the trumpet don't wake you up, oh, y'all got to hear what I'm about to say. If the trumpet don't wake you up and I'm showing grace and mercy, I'm giving time. Is y'all picking it up? I'm giving you time to do it. But if your heart is hard, what are you going to keep doing?
What you want to do.
That's right. You might even, watch this, you might even sit in the sacred assembly like you good. Y'all picking that up now? So by the time the Day of Atonement come, you either sealed or marked in a sense. That's right. So now, with this understanding, any questions on that so far from anybody? Y'all have any questions? Everybody understanding this process that God was taking them through? We understanding it? Yay, nay? Want to make sure?
Yes.
So now we get the opportunity now to look at we're going to look at the first four, these trumpets now. Now we're going to look at the trumpets. Let's go now to Revelation 8. Let's see God's mercy. All right. Like always, we talk about the golden censer, so we'll still read the golden censer. Somebody read 2 through 5.
And I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Another angel who had a golden censer came and stood at the altar. He was given much incense to offer, with the prayers of all God's people on the golden altar in front of the throne. The smoke of the incense, gathered with the prayers of God's people, went up before God from the angel's hand. Then the angel took the censer, filled it with fire from the altar, and hurled it on the earth. And there came peals of thunder, rumbling, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake.
All right. This is all global. He threw it on the what? The earth. This global thunder, global rumblings. This is the day that surprises everyone. Right? But right after this, what's going to happen?
The trumpets.
The trumpets. A lot of people don't know this. We know that. A lot of people don't know that God's wrath is going to break out. Sword, famine, plague, wild beasts, right? And then guess what's coming? Even more what?
Turmoil.
That's right. Even more wrath would be breaking out. And this is why we got to really, really be cognizant not to speed up the Lord's day. If we have true love. Is that right? Y'all got to hear what I'm saying. If we have true love, do you want the Lord's day to come real fast?
No.
Because of why? You realize what?
We ain't ready.
And more people need to be saved.
Yeah, you got a lot of work to do.
Instead of having that mindset of just let it come so that all the wicked can go. The whole time God wants you to have a heart to care about them the same way he cared.
See, what's going on? A lot of people are scaring people like God in the moment of rapture is going to come and God is going to take his people in a week this is what people are doing. But you shouldn't even talk that way if you understand his ways. Is that right?
Right. Should be teaching his character.
You should
and
teach
how he really operates.
how he really operates, his character, what he's really on. You're not in a rush for the Lord's day to come because you want more and more people to understand his processes. God is patient, not wanting anyone to perish, but he just said the religious ones who are longing for this day, it's going to be a terrible time for them. All right, now let's read. Now we see this impact of the whole world now. God has everybody's attention from the golden censer. Now watch this. Let's go to the trumpets now. Let's just read 6 and 7. Yeah, 6 and 7. Who got it?
You want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
Then the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared to sound them. The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down on the earth. A third of the earth was burned up, a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. Keep going.
No, stop right there. So, how much of the earth was burned up?
Third.
How much of the trees?
Third of everything.
So, what is that telling us again? What is that telling us?
He's merciful. See,
he is merciful. He's only destroying a third because he has a long process. I am merciful is what God is trying to show us. I am gracious. So a third is going to be burned up in all the green grass. So what happens when all the green grass is burned up? What's the impact of it?
famine.
That's right. Famine. So if you think you're about to go and grow food, right, during this time, y'all got it? No more HOAs. Right? So we are going to see God start to do things, and people are not going to know how to respond to it because of the lack of knowing, the lack of care, the lack of study, the lack of taking it serious. We understand this, but God has a plan. We know what the 144,000 job will be. We got that. So our job is to go through this and pull it out. Go ahead, Kimberly.
Doesn't it also say that when after this happens that the least of these will be like those that are like in charge or whatever, because and in reality, if you think about it, people who are living at the bottom right now have so much more hands-on skills when it comes to surviving day to day, as opposed to people who live a plush, comforting, go to the hospital every time something's wrong. That's going to be a cold awakening, as opposed to people who know how to put certain salves on and, you know, set bones and things of that nature, aren't above eating out of trash cans and things like that.
Oh, you saying a mouthful right now. Oh, yeah. Because that's the key, what you just said. The lack of preparation will cause people to lose their mind.
Mm-hmm.
You see how that works? The lack of preparing for whatever God wants to prepare you for will cause you to lose it, especially if comfort is your thing, right? So you're not used to having any skills to do anything. You know, it's like saying what you want to do. I desire to do this and want to do that. And, anything. Look, in this country, I'm gonna just say it like this. In this country, if you really want to do something, you can do it. Whatever you want to buy, if you want to buy land, if you want to grow things, if you want to be, like a hunter, whatever you want to call it, you could do all that stuff. Is that right? It's easy if you want to do it. But if you don't want, if you think that's the way you prepare for the end, that's what you'll do, right? Y'all understand what I'm trying to say? If you believe that that's the way you prepare for the end, I believe it's spiritual. Me personally, I believe everything is in your preparation should be a heart issue, a heart check. So then God can easily lead somebody who has the right heart. I'm gonna say that again. God can easily lead you if you allow him to purify your heart. He can tell you to do things and he'll move and you'll move and go wherever God is saying go. But if you're trying to save your life by having possessions and materialistic things, oh my. Everybody pick that up. I really think y'all should pay attention to what we just said. If you're trying to save your life to go through this, the Bible even tells us it's better for you to lose it. All right, we're gonna keep rolling. All right, go ahead. Second, you got it.
The second angel sounded his trumpet, and something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. A third of the sea turned into blood, a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed.
So the second one is gonna hit what?
The water.
The
sea.
water. What happens, y'all?
It's turning to blood.
Trade stops.
Kills our food.
Trade stops. Come on, Mama Sue. What else happens?
The fish die.
All right, the fish die.
Food
is gone.
Water.
Imports.
The imports are done. The water turns to blood. You can't drink it.
Somebody read Luke 21, 25 and 26.
At that point, you can't use it. You can't filter it. I don't even think about
But how
that.
much of it is destroyed? Again.
Just a third.
A third, not everywhere. Y'all pick that up? A third.
Luke
21, 25 and 26. How should your prayer life be now? Should it be one that's filled with questions when you speak to the Lord? Or should it be one that is asking him for things? Y'all know the difference between declaring something like, Lord, I know you give me peace in the midst of a storm, rather than saying, Lord, will you give me peace? Y'all know the difference? What is the difference, real quick? I want to talk about this. What is the difference between saying, Lord, I know you give me peace in the midst of a storm, and Lord, will you give me peace in the midst of the storm?
One is faith.
That's right. That's right. So what type of prayers should we have?
Faithful prayers.
That's right. Ones that's filled with faith because we understand his what? His will, his plans, his operations. So when you understand somebody's will, plan, operations, you can talk to them a little bit different, right? You could talk to him at a place where you are moving his heart, because it says without faith it's impossible to please him. So if we come any other way but a faithful way, right, it's hard for him to answer those things because it might not be in his will. But if you know he give you peace, if you know he give you the fruit of the spirit, if you know, you don't have to ask for the fruit of the spirit. Is that right? I really hope we just got that. If we're asking in the manner of, will you do something you already said you do, we have a little bit of what in there?
Doubt.
If anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask the Lord, and he will give it to him. But he must not what?
Doubt.
That's right. So our prayer should change by us understanding his ways. All right, who got Luke 21, 25 and 26? We still on the second trumpet. Who got it?
There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea.
All right, real quick, let's stop right there. So if it hit the Pacific Ocean, what's going to happen, y'all?
Tsunamis.
Ah, there you go. Big ones too, right?
Yep.
And they're going to go far and wide. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So will cities be wiped out like this? Is that, but not everywhere,
Yes.
Yes, they will be wiped out.
right? Not just the America side, but it's going to be the Asian side too, and all these places, right? Wherever it hits, it's going to take out coastal cities. And guess who is it? Guess who's going to be afraid now? The survivors. What is God trying to do with the trumpets? He's trying to prepare people for what? We talked about in Leviticus.
The Day of Atonement.
That's
He's
right. His coming, the Day of Atonement, where everything is handled at one time. All right, let's keep going. People will faint from terror, apprehensive of what is coming on the world, for the heavenly bodies will be shaken. The roaring and tossing of the sea is what God wants us to understand he's about to do. Very important. You think we should tell people this coming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so too. Y'all think we should pay people to hear it?
That's what it takes.
Whatever it takes.
You got it like that.
Huh?
I said, if you got it,
Man, if you don't got it, it's faith. You know what I mean? Everything is faith. Because the thing about this too is that, you know what God gives us is wisdom. I'm gonna say this real quick. I know I just made a little joke with that, but God give us wisdom. God is basically trying to get us to operate like He would, with faithfulness and understanding, and all you're getting get understanding. So if we know we in the temperature of our world, if somebody says they know when the second coming, right? If you know automatically people gonna shut off their ears, you would rather them hear the full story in the context, right? So you could be like, oh, I want to give you an opportunity to hear it all. So just because you hear one line, it don't completely throw you off. Is that right? That's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So if you understand that people think this way, you should find a way to plant the seed. Is that right?
mm-hmm.
God told the King David, he said, do everything that's in your heart to do. You know why God was able to tell King David that? Anybody know?
Because he knew the intentions of his heart.
The Bible said he was a man after God's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be the type of person that God can trust, that I've given you something in secret, and however you need to get it out on the rooftop, go do it, son, because you have my heart, daughter, to go do these things that I told you in secret. Everybody picking that up, right? It becomes your lifelong assignment. We're going to keep going now. All right. Where we at? Third angel. Third angel. And we're gonna go to the fourth, and we're gonna stop there. Third angel, go ahead. Revelation 8, 10 through 10 and 11. Who got it?
Else got it, but can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Prince be ruining for me, y'all. That's why I be trying to get all the reading in. The third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the sky on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of this star is Wormwood. The third of the waters turned bitter, and many people died from the waters that had become bitter.
What does this sound like as far as judgments when it comes to what God said he's sending? What does this sound like? Which one? Bitter water. Out of out of his 4 dreadful judgments, which one does this sound like?
Is that going with the famine?
Plague.
Plague.
Mm-hmm.
Plague. Drinking bitter water, and many people dying from drinking bitter water. Yeah. Huh? You got that? All right. Many people would die from drinking bitter water. Wow. The plague. Go ahead, Becky.
I accidentally thought tea and it was wormwood. And this was around the time that COVID was out. And I tasted it. Bitter cannot even describe how disgusting that is. It is that bad. If you ever want to know for yourself, buy wormwood tea in a bag and taste it. You can't drink it. It's disgusting.
So whoever made that up, whoever made it knew
what they were doing, let me tell you.
Most definitely. Dog. Wormwood tea. All right. Go ahead, Ace.
All right, so I'm just getting stuff as you're like reading. Sorry, I'm still at work. I'll be quick. When you're reading it, you're saying like a fourth are going to be wiped out, right?
Mm-hmm.
People in the world are going to be wiped out. Now, in that, it doesn't say if you're a believer or non-believer. It just says a fourth of the people are going to be wiped out. That's one key word to actually really pay attention on, right? So now we know that a lot of people are going to be gone. Then you have the wormwood. You have that's going on. People are going to be dying from this bit of water. So that's going to be even more than a fourth that's actually going to be passing out and dying. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I believe the first 4 trumpets have to do with the fourth of being wiped out. I believe it's going to happen very fast. The first 4. I believe that it's all like giving us details of the things that'll be going on during the first 4 trumpets, along with the 4th seal being open. I think it all goes together right there because of the reason I say that is because later on you're going to see a third of mankind get wiped out by when the Antichrist show up also. So what you're going to start, you'll see like how this is playing out over time. So 100%. And guess what? I hate to say it like this. Who is a believer? You know, this whole scenario right here is about being sealed and marked. The what we need to be focused on, and I'm just gonna keep it real. How does God judge people? Based off what?
Your heart.
How does God?
Your works.
God judges based off what you did. Because guess what? You can have an area of your heart that's good towards your people or some people. Doesn't mean that's the heart of God, right? You can have the area of your heart where you're good, but you ain't going to go above and beyond for anybody, right? And you could think you're a believer. Is that true?
Correct.
So really, see, the thing about it, the Bible says wisdom is proven by her actions. So what you do, because the thing about it, you never want your heart to lead you. You want to guide and direct your heart to do things, right? Because God gives us so much responsibility. He said, if your right eye or if your eyes cause you to sin, pluck them out. If your hand calls you to sin, cut it off. You got to do things to direct your heart to become more and more like Christ. And watch this. He covers you as you are living the lifestyle of a kingdom-minded person. So we got to be careful. Go ahead, Becky.
Nope, you said what I was going to say, the lifestyle.
Yeah, I wanted to actually touch on it because, a lot of people, that's it. I actually had somebody come to me saying, how do you get that? And then the Bible says to make sure you're fasting and praying. So we know that, salvation is free, but you got to put your body as a living sacrifice. Okay, that's another thing. How do we hear God? But we got to be obedient, listen to what the word is, but also fast, fast and pray, because in the Bible says that some people couldn't hear him because their body was full of food. So which side are you feeding? So it's real important to make sure that we know these things on top of what Jim's teaching as well. These are all foundational. I just wanted to throw that out there because I think it's really important for people to know that.
All of us have a sheep and a wolf that live inside of us. Every single person. So whatever you feed is actually going to be the thing that rules. So whatever you feed, and every single day you got to have this fight with the sheep and the wolf. But the more you feed the sheep, it becomes like almost routine that I'm going to choose the sheep side and I'm going to silence this wolf in me, right? And the more you keep doing this, you just become more and more driven to be more and more like him. Your whole thought process now is kingdom. That's where you want to get to. And listen to what I'm saying. It's not just thought process. Your thoughts should lead to actions, right? Your thoughts should always lead to actions. And any kingdom action is almost like a compound thing, right? Whatever you think, you're going to do, right? And whatever you do, you'll keep doing, and it becomes your habit. And whatever become your habit is going to take you further in life than anything. So if you have a habit of just following God, whatever he say, you're not operating by the flesh. Now, is the flesh still there? Of course, it's still there, but you don't want to operate by the flesh. So you keep choosing over and over to listen to the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit lead and guides you into things to do that the kingdom needs you to do. The harvest is what? Plentiful.
Plenty.
But workers are what?
Few.
So if we don't have a harvest for the kingdom, that means we may not be what?
Kingdom minded.
Working. That's right. Kingdom minded workers. Go ahead, Becky.
Nope, said it.
All right. So that's the thing, is God need people to work for him. We want to be judged off a confession we made at one point in our life and just saying, I know God and I read the Bible. We want to be judged off that and not based on what God has told us to do and our obedience to what he's commanding us. Right? Because it's easier to just be judged off your, what you believe or confessed one time. It's easier. But if God puts you up and put you up to the standard that he wants you to live by, he said, look, anybody who know my will, anybody, did he say anybody, or he said the apostles, prophets, disciples, people I chose like Moses or no, did he say just those people?
Anybody.
So anybody who knows what is the will of God, y'all. So for this generation, let's talk about it real quick. What is the will of God for this generation? It's a good question. What is the will of God for this generation?
I would say just to turn away from your wickedness and seek his righteousness. Just repent.
All right. I want y'all to understand what I just asked. Go ahead, teach. And then I'm gonna get into it.
To let the world know what he's doing currently and what's to come.
It's almost identical to Noah's Day, right?
What was the boat?
That's right. So what was the will of God during Noah's day? What was the will of God during Moses' time? Was it to free the people and to choose them to be a light to the Gentiles and things like that? Was that, see, the will of God is constantly not changing, but it's what is the word I'm using? I want it. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It's like what's that word I want to use?
Evolving.
Yeah, thank you. Good. That's so depending on the season and the time, right? It's evolving. So when the Messiah came, it was time for them, right? The will of God was, hey, y'all choose Messiah and we'll become the kingdom of priests on earth at this time, right? That was the will during that time. So when they, watch this, when they rejected him, he said, hey, Paul, This is his will now. Hey, Paul, go to the Gentiles and make the Israelites jealous that I'm choosing them. Yeah, is everybody paying attention to what I'm really saying right now? Y'all see how his will just keep on evolving depending on what he needs to do for a season? God's will doing the prophets, some of the prophets, I need to take Israel captive to punish them, right? Because of their disobedience. That was his will during that time. So the will of God is always evolving. Watch this. God's heart and desire is to save people, to get people to want to live in his kingdom and know about him. Y'all see that? Y'all see it now? So the will of God for this generation, I'm going to send a great tribulation on this generation, and I'm going to do it with grace and mercy because I'm trying to save people. That's right. It stays the same, but it evolves into, it looks different, right? It just looks different in the season that it's in. And if we don't evolve with it, we can be doing things from a season that may have been generations ago. It's possible. We'll talk about that later. But the last, I'm gonna go through the last one because I need to get through this. This is the last one. Go ahead, L. You got the last one, the 4:12, Revelation 8:12.
Yeah, I can get to that. I was taking notes. 8:12. As I watched, I heard an eagle that was flying in midair call out in a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the trumpet blast about to be sounded by the other three angels."
Ha 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 ha. So the fourth trumpet is darkness. I need us to understand this darkness. This is a third of the earth was struck with darkness. So imagine if all the volcanoes erupted in one little area and the suit just burst in the air, right? Sister Angie just said a while back, when the trees, she said something that we're going to be struggling with this darkness. And what's that? What would we be struggling with when darkness comes upon the earth?
To see.
Yeah, but
The faith test.
yeah, but more like,
Faith.
but it's if
You
you
talking about the evil darkness, you mean?
The
So-
weather.
okay.
The weather.
the weather, right? So watch this. When imagine soot from volcanoes just covering the atmosphere, right? What will you be struggling to do?
Breathe.
Thank you. You will be struggling. Did y'all know this? You will be struggling to even breathe. Yeah.
It's like that Denzel movie. What is it called again, babe? Book
Thank
of
you,
Eli.
Foodie. Huh?
The Book of Eli. Kind of be like that.
I don't remember the breathing stuff in there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I don't know. I don't remember the breathing in there. It might be. So y'all see this? It's going to be so bad that breathing will become a problem just by breathing. So y'all want to rush this? Y'all want to rush the day of the Lord? Or what we
I've
want?
always said no, but to know it to that extent, I didn't picture that. Like struggling to breathe. That takes it to a whole nother level.
So think about right now if you went into a fire and smoke was in the building. The fire might not even burn you. But guess why you will pass out?
Smoke inhalation.
The smoke
Yeah.
inhalation. So think about what I just said now. Imagine volcanoes erupting and the air is filled with black soot and smoke. Y'all getting it now even more? Where are you going to run to? Probably inside, right?
If we have an inside.
You see, God don't want to tell us this to scare us. He want to tell us this to have more faith in him. He want to tell us this so we can pray the right prayers. The Bible says pray in the spirit on all occasions. How do you know what to pray if you don't not led and guided by the spirit? It'll become very self-centered. Your prayers will become self-centered. But if you're praying according to what the spirit is revealing, your prayer life change. You're asking the right, Lord, where, what, when, how. You're not asking, Lord, bless me, take care of this, don't send no harm my way. Right? Protect me. When ain't that, think about that prayer. Did y'all notice when the Messiah showed him how to pray, and then when he prayed for the world and prayed for his disciples and stuff, did y'all notice he never said those self-centered things? Anybody ever notice he never said self-centered prayers like protect me from my enemies? Did y'all know that?
I do now.
Go look at him. Look at what he says in those prayers. It's very important to pray in the spirit. So you want to pray, God, I know. Y'all hear the faith in that? I know what you are about to do. Show me what you want me to do. Lead me where you want me to go. Teach me what to say that you want me to say. Everybody picking that up? That's how we but watch this. You got to have the heart to live it out if he's going to answer you. All right. So we got through the first 4 trumpets today. I hope y'all see the bigger picture, especially that this is a wake-up call for what day?
Day of the Lord.
Okay, the day of the Lord, but
Day of Atonement.
Day of Atonement.
Day of Atonement. That's right. So on the first day of the 7th month, they watch this. They had an assembly, a solemn sacred assembly with trumpets blowing, because 9 days later, the Day of Atonement was coming. And what should you be doing in those 9 days? Real quick, what should you be doing?
Making things right.
Getting things right with your brother and God, and your sister and God, or whoever in God, right? Getting things right. Having a clear what?
Conscious.
Very important. Get rid of the sin. Get rid of the yeast out of your household. Get rid of it. All right. With that being said, YouTube, Facebook, we're going to shut down. We're going to stay over here a few more minutes with TikTok and Zoom, of course. But I really hope you got something tonight. You got something for YouTube and Facebook, babe?
Is that how we should be living every day?
Of course.
Because when we die, the next time we wake up, it'll be the Day of Atonement.
100%. I hope you living like that every day. Right? But during this time, though, God is letting the world know time is up. So we want that was a parallel, but of course you should be living like that every day. You should let me tell y'all something real quick before we get off. You should not be saying every day I'm sorry to God. Did y'all know that if you're a believer? Who can hear me? You should not be praying I'm sorry every single day to God. You got to get to a place where it's like you and him on the same type of time, and he's leading and guiding and telling you stuff. Can you imagine if Noah or Moses or Gideon or anybody every single day they say, I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for what I did yesterday. I'm sorry. Like, yo, no, you better get up and get back. Like it's almost like a bookmark. You better go to sleep with bookmarks and get back up and start walking with the Lord again tomorrow. If you got to say I'm sorry every day, you might not be a believer. Are y'all listening? You should not be waking up every day. Lord, I'm sorry. Forgive me for what sins you committed. Right? What sin did you commit? You need to confess if you did, but you shouldn't live in a perpetual cycle of I'm sorry. You should always be repentant. What is repentant? Your mind is changing every day. And you show God is changing by what you are doing every day. Did y'all know that's repentance? Remember when John the Baptist told them, what did he tell them? Show that you are repentant by the works. And he said, how we gonna do that? If you got 2 cloaks, do what? What did he say?
I don't know.
You gotta make us read. My kid, why you just want to say it? Everybody need to hear you.
Give one away.
If you got 2 cloaks, give one away. So I changed my mind by what I'm doing. God, that's how you know. But if you got to get up every day saying I'm sorry, something wrong. Something's off in the walk. I'm telling you, be careful of that. Don't be think you walking with God for years and years, and you got to keep saying I'm sorry because you are living according to the flesh. You want to live in a repentant state. That is, your mind is constantly changing and being transformed to have the same mind of Christ. We got to get this right, y'all. God wants to tell us things to do. He don't want to sit here and have pity parties every day with you. He don't want to do that with you every day. He want to, hey, let's mature. Let's get beyond this little baby stage so we can go and do more things together. Please don't live your life thinking that just because you're saying I'm sorry every day that you're changing. No, your mindset shows you're changing. All right. YouTube, Facebook, I'm gonna let y'all go. Peace, grace, and love. You can go back, watch this message again, share it. This message is key for what's coming upon the land. And no, we're not rushing the day of the Lord. We are just what they call it, occupying territories and spaces until you come back. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to just continue to do what it is the Lord wants done. This is his season of change. This is God's season of change, meaning he's going to change this world and give us a new world. That's where God is on. So let us be on the same type of time God on. With that being said, y'all, peace, grace, and love. Spend a lot of time with God, a little time with self. We out.